Well, the opinions expressed in this video are mine and mine alone, and they don't represent anybody else's opinions, including sponsors, associates, or anybody else. They're just mine. So welcome back to Thoughts While Thinking and rearranging my prejudices. Well, I've got a sensitive subject today, and we'll just get right into it, and I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking while I'm thinking. I'm thinking that love is love. It don't matter what. It's kind of like my old grandpa used to say, love's like dew, it'll fall on a rose or a cow pile. And love is love. And I can relate and understand this homosexual love. And I have friends that's been in a relationship for over 50 years, and they're committed, and they love one another. And I see that love in their actions and stuff. So I understand that. And I see it in all that stuff. And the bisexuals are the same way. I can understand that. But what I can't understand is these transgender men participating in women's sports. I think they're just going to kill the women's sports. You know, I'm not a biologist, but I know what a woman is. And I'm telling you what, these guys here, they're participating in women's sports, and I don't think they even come close to looking like a woman. And they certainly ain't built like a woman. And but the administration, they keep pushing all this stuff, and they keep pushing it on us. But I'm thinking that if these guys want to participate in women's sports and stuff, they ought to be fully committed. And this little gadget here is a kind of interesting gadget. It can turn a big old bull into a little soft steer in about a month and a half. So let them work on that. And the tri-sports, I just don't understand. You know, men and women, they're built different. You know, our bones are different. Our joints are different. Our muscles are different. We bend different. We walk different. We look different. We are different. And this guy here, I mean, he's participating in women's sports, and he don't look that way to me. This guy here, he's 6'3", 230 pounds, and he's participating in women's sports. I think he's got a big advantage over them. And I think that these are just mediocre athletes that's trying to get their name in the book and some publicity or something. I'm just not sure what their motivation is. But the transgender issue in women's sports, I think, is totally unfair. And, you know, part of that is that the left can't get this past president out of their head. They just keep on pushing and bringing everything up right now. And, you know, they can repeat a lie often enough, it's going to become the truth. And man, I'll tell you what, they're repeating those lies. And then they're pushing this little gender-bred person to these kids in the first, second, third grade, kind of wrapping their heads around their hiney. They don't know what to think about that. They ain't got no business thinking about that. And they're asking them who you are. Heck, they don't know who they are. They're just kids. They want to play. And they just want to learn and play. They don't want to get into all that stuff. They don't understand it in the first place. But these transgenders are pushing it on them. And back in 2008, the Psychological Association, they kind of gave a little soft endorsement to it, but they're using that right now to promote their ideas. And then they also come in there with that first, second, and third grade with a little gender unicorn. Well, you know, kids, they watch television and they love that unicorn on TV, so they just buy whatever that unicorn says. they were really smart to how they were marketing this thing to those young kids. Little minds of mush. They just don't need to be thinking about stuff like that. We need to just let these kids be kids and forget this gender stuff while they're little. And the gender group only grew nearly 400,000 in 2020, and 62% of that was illegals crossing the border. So we are letting that half of 1% rule the world. And we look at the DNA and the genes, and they're just different. They ain't even close. So you can't get that around your head. And they put out these little cartoons about these babies in the womb, talking about what they're going to be and what they're going to decide when they grow up. Well, I don't believe they're thinking about that. I think they're just thinking to get out in the daylight. And so the big man on campus is going to be, in the women's sports, is going to be men, and the women are going to be in second place because they are just at a disadvantage. And, Walker says that I too was a man trapped in a woman's body and then I was born. Well, that's pretty much the way I am. And LBGT, they're just propaganda, they're just blowing that horn, and that's all we're hearing, and it's just driving us nuts. We can't wrap our heads around it, but it just keeps coming like a noisy radio. And old Jonathan here, he says, why look for conspiracy? Stupidity can explain so much. And the words, they were, meaningless without action to back them up. And we only have the rights that we're willing to fight for, and when we're not fighting for anything right now, we're just sitting there letting them toot that horn in our ears. And that's my thoughts while thinking, and a reminder that the Constitution limits the power of the government, not the people. And we'll see you on the flip side.